Hey guys, Cosmic Hero of Six Sages Gaming, and welcome back to another Artifact video. Today we're going to be talking about Pauper, which is a very popular Magic the Gathering format, but you either have heard this word, maybe on the Reddit or in the Discord, and just don't know anything about it. And I really want to talk about what this format is, what it means for Artifact, and then also give you guys a couple Pauper decks to work with for Artifact in case you want to be playing in some of those tournaments. And yes, in the Discord, we will be organizing events for the subreddit in terms of commons, uncommons, and then of course the full constructed decks. But just to let you know, that is coming. We have to wait until we get full details. So hopefully after the NDA lift on the 17th, we'll know a little bit more about that. The huge disclaimer about Pauper itself is that it is designed for older card games. Now, Magic the Gathering being the king here, and it having over the 6,000 cards that were just shown. So with Artifact, what does this really mean? Well, we probably can't use only commons. We're going to use uncommons as well, just get a little bit more of a dynamic format. But as someone who's played a variety of new TCGs at the start, including games like Force of Will, various Bushy Road games, etc., Pauper generally doesn't work as well as it does in Magic. You really just need a deeper card pool to have just a more of a variety for a meta and some more interesting choices that are going to come up. So that is all fine and dandy. You know, we can certainly look forward to some tournaments that are going to include that, but what does this mean for you guys? You spent 20 bucks. You have Artifact in your collection. Sure, you get 10 packs as well, but what can you really do with those starter decks? Now, I do also want to say they're a lot better than people have given them credit for. Yes, if you buy 50 or 100 packs, you're going to get all those cards anyways, but I think it is a decent starting point for those who are coming in with only $20. With that out of the way, I do want to say that I did make this with a focus on commons. Naturally, you are going to open up more commons than anything else, and really that is the heart of Pauper at the end of the day, and that these lists are theory crafts only, and I really can't stress that enough. I personally didn't have any time to test these before releasing this video and getting ready for the NDA lift on Saturday, so this is more of just a brainstorm, which I hope you guys will use in the future, and then let me know how it works out for you. With that, let's start with the red-green list. So with all these, I included the original on the left, and then the more updated version I have here in the just about center on the screen. So the red-green list was a bit interesting, and it was very nice that we got both Lycan and Sven. His God Strength can be pretty good in a Pauper format, right? You don't have as many ways to either buff your units. You don't have a lot of options in your item deck other than Short Sword, which is a basic, so everybody gets it. So you are a little bit limited in your pushing power, so to speak. This red-green list really is built more of a mid-range, so really starting to get to that 6 cost point and really start dropping multiple 6 drops across the lanes. And yes, it would certainly benefit from things like Time of Triumph. So if you open a Time of Triumph, absolutely include that in the list and, cut whichever card that you like the least. With that, I know I did forget to mention Legion Commander, and quite a few people either called me out on it in the comments of the previous video or said that I just didn't give it enough justice, and I do want to make this absolutely clear. For an uncommon and just also for red cards, Legion Commander is my favorite hero personally. I believe that the value you get out of Duel plus her Retaliate is very beneficial. It is just all around the best red hero in my opinion. I love getting to put her in either a 2 red hero card list or 3 red hero card list because yes, your duel does need to have an allied red hero. And of course, as you add more of them into your deck, you're going to have more options in terms of what lane you're going to be using it in. But just all around, it is great for killing blue and black hero cards. If you have initiative and your opponent is gearing up for, say, an annihilation, which can really hurt you, this is a perfect card to play in response. Of course, if they have 2 blue heroes, well, that's not going to feel too great. That's still going to happen, but chances are they're only going to deploy 1 blue hero to that lane because they don't want to sacrifice too many things when they use Annihilation, keeping in mind they are losing their board at the same time. So Legion Commander, it is an uncommon. Yes, I do suspect that this will be one of the more expensive uncommon hero cards, so that's why it might be not something you get your hands on right away, but if you can, this should be one of the first red hero cards you pick up if you want to play red decks in Artifact. Past that, we have Ursa, and I really like this card mostly because of Enrage. And yes, 6 might seem like a lot, but Pauper formats themselves typically can be a little bit slower, so you can set up turns where you can do something like Enrage into Duel to not only give you that little extra attack you might need to kill a freshly deployed hero, but it also gives you the armor, so you're not getting punished as hard for playing those 2 cards. And then yes, the Fury Swipes, which is, it's nice, but it's not going to happen all that often. If you can get multiple Fury Swipes on one of your opponent's hero cards, you're feeling pretty good. And again, in a slower format, you have better chances for that to stack up. One of the key cards that I want to stress, we just talked about how good that passive can be, is New Orders. And this really does work well with Ursa because you get to, of course, not only likely kill something with that 7 attack being pretty decent out of the gate, but you also get to apply that negative armor. With New Orders, I think it is still a card that some constructed decks are going to see included in them. Maybe not all of them, but I really am high on this card. Maybe I think it's better than what it actually is, but I do just love being able to target my opponent's cards if I just need to get rid of a problematic hero card before it does something on the next turn, keeping in mind for those key turns like Annihilation, or if they're starting to combo off in the next couple turns, if they're going, say, Stars Align, you know that Acceleration is coming next turn, you want to get their hero off the board that lane, that round, so they can't have access to it in the next one. So you do need to plan ahead a little bit with your New Orders. One of the other cards you can see that we upgraded here was Bronze Legionnaire. We did include an extra copy of it, but I really do like Stonehall Elite. Again, when I was building these decks, I want to stress again, the biggest focus was for common cards and not also including uncommon cards, right? There's of course uncommon cards in this list, but it is heavily biased towards common. So again, in this list, I would personally recommend Stonehall Elite, but based on what's in the starter decks and based on what's going to be very cheap to buy, Bronze Legionnaire is a nice thing to flush out. I think between these 2 cards, if you're trying to build a more aggressive build, let's say Black-Red aggro, Bronze Legionnaire does a lot of work. Absolutely include it. If you're building a slightly slower list and maybe you have a couple extra field control options, then Stonehall Elite can really shine. This is a card that I play in Constructed that pretty easily can start to snowball and become a heavy hitter. I can also get this guy to kill heroes along the way, and if you're trading this card for a hero kill plus the creep kills you're getting along the way, it's going to feel pretty good. So again, keeping in mind what your common versus uncommon options might be, and you can change the deck a little bit to your liking as well. Now, what is your must-buy card? And a lot of green decks are going to be gunning to this right away, is Mist of Avernus. It is just an insane card in green. If you see this round 1, your win percentage goes up quite a bit. I know a few other beta testers have commented on that. Of course, there's no mulligan, so it's not going to happen all the time, but there are going to be those games where you just, you know, get lucky, see even 2 of them sometimes in your first 2 draws, and it really can help modify your heroes with that extra attack. Again, as I mentioned earlier, the attack modification doesn't happen as often in these more limited formats, so having a card like Mist in this case can help you generate some extra value and make your hero cards stronger where your opponent might be struggling if they didn't get either something better than a short sword, right? This card can very easily and very quickly get you more value out of all of your heroes than, say, a short sword, or maybe they have a claymore or something. Mist just does more for you the longer the game goes on, and seeing it turn 1 is certainly very strong. Red Mist Pillager is a interesting one, and it is uncommon, and I really just wanted to take a moment to talk about this card in general. Back at PAX, this was a bit of a meme card, and a lot of people gave me a hard time for it, and yes, I get it. If they are playing Ignites, it can slow it down. You're still going to get the value going over a turn, right? If they get 2 of them, obviously then it's dead, or if they have Conflag, it kills it every turn. Feels bad, I get it, but this is a card that just forces your opponent to do something. It does act in this list as a way to sort of steal initiative, because then your opponent has to respect or do something about it. And lastly, I do want to stress that you have to play this after your opponent has used all their mana for the round. If you simply are having initiative and maybe you don't need it for the next couple rounds, if you're playing this card just to play it, you're going to feel really bad, and it's going to seem a lot worse than what it actually is. So make sure either you're using it to force a response from your opponent, or you're using it after your opponent has already spent all of their mana in that lane, so they're forced to come up with now 2 answers in the next round. This card can be devastating in some matchups when used properly, and I think it is a card more and more people will turn around on as time goes on. Items, I really don't want to spend a lot of time on this because, as we mentioned in our previous video, it is pretty straightforward about what cards you're going to be looking for. And fortunately, Blink Dagger is an uncommon, so it's not a rare, right? But unfortunately, everybody is going to be looking for it. It is a card that if you open it, absolutely included, but maybe this is one of the last cards that you purchase, if only because it is going to be more expensive than the other ones. I understand that funds are limited, so you might not always have the ability to flush out this entire list all in one go. Maybe you have to wait a week, whatever your circumstances might be. So make sure you finish the rest of the main deck first before getting into this item. Open up your packs, see what you get, leave a comment if you think there's other items, and we'll be happy to, tell you which ones you should use. You guys can always get a hold of me in the Discord as well, and they're super helpful for giving some deck advice as well. And then the maul itself, I just really like it. There's not every deck is running improvements per se, but the ones that you really want to watch out for, again, any of the blue ones, really, just get them off the board. But then Cheating Death can feel really, really bad if you're going up against it and you don't have a lot of removal or any way to remove it other than Smash the Defenses, which we do include 2 copies of. But that is a card that it's just so strong. I always include in my red deck. So take it with a grain of salt. If you think 2 is enough, cut them all, just rely on your smashes. Otherwise, keep it in if you're seeing a lot of Cheating Death, for example. That's probably the best way to analyze that card and how good it's going to be in your deck. Moving on, we have the blue-black list, which was certainly the more difficult one of the two. So again, I have the starter deck that you get when you buy Artifact on the left, and then I have the updated one here right next to me. And it is... Again, it was challenging to build because blue-black aggro is something I've spent a little bit of time on, but I think it certainly needs significantly more time in testing before I feel confident with a list. So typically I would say don't build this, definitely, unless you're gung-ho on opening blue-black cards or you like blue-black a lot. It's going to take work, so I apologize that this list is not nearly as refined, in my personal opinion, as, say, the red-green list. I do think overall this has some playability to it. It just needs some more time than I had right now. Again, this is purely a theory-crafted list. I'm going to add that disclaimer again there for my own benefit, but maybe you're crazy enough like me and you really want this deck to work. So let's talk about it and talk about some of the different options. So yes, Sorla Khan is an absolute beast in Artifact. If you are playing any aggressive deck, obviously it is included in the red-black aggro list. We did put that out on Twitter. It was all credit to Suns Fan. It was his list, and then Action Jackson had a updated list that included Storm Spirit. If I think that was the one thing that was different, the original list. So there's been a few different variations on it, but I do think that there's more decks that Sorla can go into. What makes her so strong? When she is not blocked by a creep, a hero, what have you, she is hitting a tower for 12. You can very quickly imagine that if you get 2 of these in, that's 24 damage, not counting the other damage that your creeps, or maybe you deployed a second hero to that lane, are getting in. On top of that, we have assault ladders. So any allies that are attacking the tower, so again, they're not blocked, they're not having an arrow curved, they're doing even more damage. So this list absolutely benefits from Dimensional Portal, and I cannot stress enough how strong that card can be when paired with this card. The other reason why I really want to include Sorla in this list, and maybe just bring up a talking point, is Phase Boots. This is a card I don't see a lot of discussion on, and it might be because Sorla is really the only hero card so far that really benefits from it, but I think it's something that often gets overlooked. Sorla really needs to hit the tower every single time that she can to kill your opponent as quickly as possible. When you start to add in things like Dimensional Portal and Phase Boots, you can quickly move her all the way out to the side, and, especially if your opponent is out of mana, they can't immediately drop another creep, or they don't likely have an answer for her, and it gives her +4 health, so she suddenly becomes an 8/10, which is a bit more beefy. So this is quite the iconic duo that I'm expecting we see a lot more of, even more so outside, again, out of the red-black aggro, maybe blue-black aggro, green-black, stepping outside a little bit more of that comfort zone that we've come to see in lists so far. The other reason why I really like black decks is Disciple of Nevermore. This is a card that can buff your entire lane, give you some extra goodies, and really has the ability to punch through some extra damage when your opponent might not see it coming. So the +2 attack, again, after you're playing a bunch of Dimensional Portals, you go wide. This is suddenly adding 10, 12, I've had up to 16 damage with this added that can really kill the tower out of nowhere. Again, I do want to caution you have to be very careful when playing this card because it does have -2 armor, meaning it's going to die to a melee creep. Also, your creeps are going to die because they're also going to take 2 more damage. So this card really should be used for a final push and really help you get in that extra bit of reach that you're going to need. Hipfire is a very strong black card that I think all decks should be using. It is a common, so this is one of the times where we do have the benefit to have very strong common cards that a lot of decks are going to see, so you don't feel bad about buying this one early. So this might be, maybe 25 cents. I have no idea what the price is going to settle at, but I certainly expect this one to be higher than your average common. Dealing 4 damage to a unit can either kill a creep for Sorla, so she's going to guarantee to hit a tower for that glorious 12 damage, or it'll give you that last little bit of reach you need against a blue hero or black hero to knock them out of the lane. Yes, there are some cases where you're able to kill a red or green hero, but it can be difficult when they have a potion or something, so they can heal right past it. Hipfire, in my opinion, is best when used against blue or black because it's just more likely to kill them, and that would make sense. It is also worth noting that you're going to gain initiative, so if you need it in the next lane for one reason or another, maybe your opponent is setting up on 6 mana in the next round, and you have a coup de grace that you want to use instead, or insert 6 mana spell here. You can steal initiative, kill their blue hero, make sure that your lane lives, and go on with attacking the tower. So Hipfire, again, is an auto-include 3 of, in my opinion, in all of my black decks. Then we have Sister of the Veil, and this might seem like an interesting card to include in a more aggressive base list, and that's probably true, but I really just like this card. It is a little bit more expensive at that 5 cost, but it has decent stats and it allows you to switch her target so you can knock out one of your opponent's heroes. I'm really using this card to set up the mana 6 turn where you don't want your opponent playing those spells, and there's a lot of very strong impactful spells to be played on 6, so I really like how this can come down a turn early and hopefully give you that little extra damage you need against a hero to knock it out and be safe in the next round. I do recommend whenever you're playing this game, it does take a lot, and I certainly still mess up myself when playing Artifact, to think about, okay, I understand that I have to fight for this round, but what is my opponent going to do on the next round? How much mana are they going to get to? What is the key card that they're going to be playing? And then you start to realize the impact that Sister of the Veil can have in giving you that little extra edge you need and getting that little bit more damage to knock them out. I think overall it's a pretty strong card. I'm not sure if it's going to be, in every black deck in the future, but I think it's certainly a strong card to consider. And hey, it's a solid draft card, right? The last one that I'm sure I'm getting a lot of head scratches on is Thunderstorm. And I really want to take a moment to say, hey, we don't have Annihilation at any cost, so those are out, and then cards like Thunderstorm get better. But again, it really comes back to Sorla, in my opinion. You get to kill all the creeps in that lane, so Sorla, if she's blocked by a creep, is going to finally be freed up. But also 4 damage is a decent amount against your opponent's hero, so it is each enemy, and it doesn't happen nearly often at all, but there has been at least one game where I was able to clear a lane with Thunderstorm because I used Sister of the Veil or other things in the mana 5 turn to really help chip apart some damage. So Thunderstorm, I think, is a solid card that in a Pauper format, which again is the entire focus of this video, can certainly shine. So I think this is a card to test out, see how you like it, and maybe it does find a home. Obviously, in your more control decks, if you want to be playing, say, a blue-red control deck, then this is automatically a 3 of, because outside of Zeus's Thunder God's Wrath, this is the only card that you have that's going to be helping either hit multiple heroes or just hit the creeps in the lane. And there might be some other cards I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but at least in blue, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. So with that, it is a wrap up on the Pauper video. I hope you guys found this information helpful, and I really want to open a general question. How much will you guys spend on Artifact? I know you've seen this happen or this discussion a little bit on Reddit so far, and I know the main focus is, hey, I'm going to spend my 20 bucks. If I like it, I'll spend a little bit more. If not, hey, I spend my 20 bucks and I can sell out into the Steam marketplace and then go buy something else. And the reason why I really bring this up is because I was very lucky to win a couple giveaways on Steam myself, so I will be flooding the market, so to speak, day one with a lot of commons and uncommons that are going to be severely underpriced. I'm just going to undercut a bunch of people at the end of the day, right? I'm going to be opening up some packs, and It might not be the best opportunity, and maybe I don't have that much of an impact on the market, but I hope I can help out somebody out there get some really sweet deals on day one so they can finish these Pauper decks or other decks that you want to finish. You know, maybe you're buying 10 extra packs and you just need those 1 or 2 more uncommons to finish the list. In our previous video, we did cover how many rares on average were in a deck and how many uncommons and commons, and there are quite a bit of commons and uncommons that you will need for the deck. Surprise, there's more uncommons and commons in a deck than rares. So anyways, I hope that can help you out with some day one deals, and then of course, as I open more packs or win some gauntlets, what have you, I'll try to put some more stuff into the marketplace as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more Artifact content in the future. I will be streaming tomorrow. I cannot wait. Finally, the NDA is going to be lifted, and there's a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. So if it's not me, go watch your favorite streamer. Enjoy all the things that Artifact is going to bring. It is a super exciting time, and I know a lot of us are very excited to finally be able to stream this game and talk about Constructed. I cannot wait to show you guys some amazing lists on Twitch. So thank you for stopping by, and I hope to see you next time in the Sage's Sanctuary. Have a good one.